Well, hi everybody, welcome back to the Flicks the Church Forgot on location this time. I'm actually at the famous or infamous traditional site Stonehenge, the English heritage site in Wiltshire in the UK. I just had a little look around now. This place, of course, is known very well around the world as a place of history and mystery, particularly the mystery concerning how, firstly from an engineering point of view, how they actually put all of this stuff together, how they managed to get these lintels on top. You can see these lintels across here, which is really bizarre, how they managed to get such massive hunks, hefty bits of stone on top of each other like that. This was in the Neolithic period, of course, thousands of years before Jesus ever walked the earth, before JCBs and cranes and things like that. So pretty impressive bit of work engineering wise. But not only that, it's a place and a source of great mystery with regards to religion and spirituality. I just walked past a stone called the Slaughter Stone, and that is coloured red because it was thought that the Druids back in the day used to slaughter people on it, but apparently that was just a bit of an urban myth. But having said that, this place has been a source of inspiration for some great horror, spooky type tales. One in particular I'm thinking of now is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. If you've seen that one, that's the film that sort of breaks the Michael Myers mold and decides to go in a completely different direction. This is 1982 from Tommy Lee Wallace. Really good film, I quite enjoy it. But there, if you remember, the silver shamrock masks that the little sort of tags in the back of the masks that will turn children's heads into explosions of cockroaches and snakes. The very essence of those things come from these stones themselves. McLaughlin or Cochrane, I can't remember what his name is, but somehow he manages to get these stones, or one of these stones at least, over to Santa Mira in America. How he does that we don't know, but Nigel Neal, the scriptwriter, basically just explained it by saying, you'll never believe how we got these things over to the USA, or something like that, which sort of deals with that whole subject straight away. But also we never know exactly why the elements of these stones can inspire children's heads to explode, but who cares? It's a great story, and it's in a really cool film, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Not only that, there's an absolute classic horror movie from 1957, I think it is, yeah, 57, Jacques Tourneur, who made Night of the Demon. Now, Night of the Demon is a stunning horror movie. It's one of the best horror movies, certainly one of the best English horror movies ever made, but for me, I think it's one of the best horror films ever. And it's the story of a skeptical professor of anthropology and that sort of thing who comes to Britain and starts to engage, because he's a speaker at a conference or something, and he comes to Britain and starts to discover that maybe there is such a thing as the supernatural after all. And he discovers this by his encounters with these strange sort of satanic cults, the witch cults it's called at the beginning. And the film opens actually with shots of these stones in the windswept sort of morning, I guess, and we hear the narrator talking about how there has been a history of the witch cults, the satanic cults that have used the power of the ancient runic symbols, and they exist to this day. And it still says it goes on, and the film goes on to prove that maybe they do indeed exist to this day. Now, Night of the Demon came out at a time when Dennis Wheatley was writing a lot of stuff around this subject. I've actually just finished a book called The Haunting of Toby Jug by him, which talks about there's like a satanic conspiracy in Toby Jug. He relates it to the idea of communism, and that Satanists are going to use communism to take over the world. But certainly it was a popular idea at the time, and so the film comes out, and it's no surprise to find that they used a place like this, which has got this sort of ancient history and the mystery of it, and pulled that into their story, casting the runes, you know, all about this idea of the satanic cults coming back, tapping into ancient evil. And in the film, I think Dana Andrews, who plays Professor Holden in the film, I think he comes to here and he discovers some of the symbols, and it's very important to the plot. Excuse me, it's getting a bit bright, so... And then, of course, there's John Carpenter again, related to Halloween 3 because of the soundtrack he did for that, but also him and Deborah Hill. Apparently, after they made Halloween, they were in Britain, and they came here in the late 70s, and they came here to Stonehenge. And while they were at Stonehenge, John Carpenter describes how he and Deborah Hill were looking out over a lake or some water in the distance, and they saw a fog rolling in, and John Carpenter turns to Deborah Hill and says, "What if there was something in that fog?" Ta-da! The fog was born. Brilliant film as well. Now, I'm not actually sure where he was thinking about. I'm up here right now and I can't particularly see any stretch of water anywhere. Maybe I'm being blind. I'll have a little more of a look in a moment. But maybe he wasn't actually at the site of Stonehenge, but near abouts. But who cares? The idea is that in the fog, something natural is the home to or contains something unnatural, something supernatural. And I think that's the essence of what Stonehenge is. It's a natural phenomena. You know, it's a bunch of rocks that have been put on each other, a bunch of stones, and it's really interesting and it's quite inspiring to see this sort of work, this sort of engineering back then. But what I like about it is it has this power to inspire and spook out. And certainly there's just 3 examples of horror movies that have used Stonehenge as a sort of launching point for their stories. Now, if you're interested in hearing more in-depth reviews of those 3 films, then you can go to my website and explore the audio reviews that I've done. In-depth analysis of Halloween 3, Night of the Demon, and indeed The Fog, so you can find those there. But until next time, you can just explore some of the sites of Stonehenge. It's been an inspiration for comic books and albums, and of course Spinal Tap famously decided to sort of almost like reenact or reconstruct Stonehenge on stage with them. But it's certainly been a source of inspiration for many, many people. Whether or not there's anything spooky or supernatural going on, well, you can see what's behind me, but I can't. Maybe there's something creeping up on me even as I speak. I'll turn around and check that out. But until next time, don't forget, the flick's the church for God.